How is it even possible that, at just 17 years of age, Lamine Yamal is already considered the best footballer on earth? At that age, Messi was barely breaking into the Barcelona senior squad. Cristiano Ronaldo had just landed at Manchester United. Even the greatest names in football history were still only promising at 17. But Yamal, he's not promising. He's dominating. He has already lifted the European Championship. He's conquered La Liga and has represented both his club and his country in over 100 matches. So the question echoes around the world. How? How did this slim, quiet teenager rise so far, so fast? This is not just a football story. This is a saga of destiny, defiance, and the divine nature of talent. This is the epic of Lamine Yamal. Do you believe in fate? Because if you don't, try explaining this. In 2007, a photograph was taken for a UNICEF campaign. A young Lionel Messi, shy and reserved, was cradling a newborn baby. A baby he had never met, holding him in his arms with awkward grace. That baby was Lamine Yamal. At the time, no one noticed. Just a charity shoot. But now, that image feels like a prophecy. As if the torch had been passed, before either of them knew. But there was no royal cradle, no silver spoon. Lamine was born into hardship, not privilege. Raised in Mataró, a working-class coastal town near Barcelona, he lived in a modest flat, raised by teenage parents struggling to survive in a country that wasn't yet their own. His mother had arrived from Equatorial Guinea, his father from Morocco. Two young immigrants who had only one currency, hope. No nannies, no private schools, just his father's calloused hands from construction work and his mother's long shifts as a waitress. No diplomas, just a dream that their son might one day live free from struggle. It seemed impossible, but something in Lamine was different. From the age of 4, he was already playing football with surreal elegance, gliding, twisting, floating. The ball wasn't at his feet, it was part of him. His first club was CF La Torreta. Even there, among children twice his size, he moved like a spirit, untouchable, silent, unshaken. Most kids played and looked to the sidelines for approval. Lamine, he needed no one. He wasn't seeking praise. He was possessed by the game. Within a year, the scouts came. Real Madrid, Espanyol, Valencia. They had never seen a child like this. His father, still loyal to Los Blancos, tried to guide him toward Madrid. But Lamine had made up his mind. His idols wore Blaugrana, Ronaldinho, Neymar, and above all, Messi. He joined La Masia, Barcelona's legendary academy, at just 7 years old. And instantly, he stood apart. His coach, Albert Puig, would later say, "Most kids peak at some point." Lamine just kept rising. By the age of 9, he had scored 56 goals in 30 games, often against players much older. Barcelona was stunned. They moved him into the La Masia residence early, not to pamper him, but to protect the jewel they had found. And then came the MIC tournament, the world's best youth teams. Liverpool, Dortmund, Juventus, and of course, Real Madrid. Lamine tore them all apart. 7 goals, 1 assist. Barca beat Madrid 6-1. Lamine was named player of the tournament. He wasn't just good, he was something else. A player who operated on a different plane. Fast forward just a few months, and Spain called. Not for the U15s, for the U17s. At just 15, Lamine was already the best Spanish player in his generation. Still, Real Madrid didn't give up. President Florentino Perez offered VIP suites, private jets, anything to bring him to the capital. But Yamal stayed. He didn't care about perks. He only wanted the ball. Then came 2023. Everything changed. Barcelona's first team was in crisis. Dembélé was sold. Ansu Fati was struggling. Barca were broke, desperate. Xavi Hernandez, watching Yamal dominate in youth training, made a decision that would alter club history. He called up the 15-year-old to the senior squad. April 2023. Barcelona versus Real Betis. The scoreboard read 4-0. Then came the substitution. Lamine Yamal stepped onto the Camp Nou pitch, becoming the youngest player in club history to debut in La Liga. And, in just a few touches, he proved it wasn't a fluke. He nearly assisted Dembélé. He beat defenders. He looked ready. The next season, he became a starter. August 2023. Matchday 3. Barca versus Villarreal. Yamal dominated. Assistant dribbles. Man of the match. A few weeks later, he made history again. The youngest player ever to feature in El Clasico. Madrid were shocked. He didn't just survive, he thrived. By November, he had started 11 matches. But the goals hadn't come yet. People whispered, maybe he's just a creator. Then January arrived. And the dam broke. He scored in the Copa del Rey. Then in the Spanish Supercopa. 2 weeks later, another one. 3 goals in 4 games. February. He adds 4 assists in 2 games. Suddenly, defenders can't stop him. And fans can't look away. Then came April 2024. And with it, a new title. The youngest player in history, with 10 La Liga goal contributions. But the best was yet to come. Because summer was calling. And with it, the greatest test of all. Euro 2024. Most 16-year-olds spend their summer at the beach. Lamine Yamal. He was called up to represent Spain in the European Championship. Not the U17s. Not the U21s. The full senior national team. Coach Luis de la Fuente ignored the headlines. He had seen it with his own eyes. Lamine wasn't a future talent. He was already the most dangerous player in the squad. And then, under the bright lights of Germany, with the whole continent watching, Yamal unleashed something historic. Against Croatia, he danced through defenders. He became the youngest player in European Championship history and didn't look nervous for a second. Then came Italy. He didn't score, he didn't assist, but he dominated. Passing, positioning, pressing, like a general commanding an army. Next, Georgia, the round of 16. The world waited. And finally, boom, a stunning assist for Nico Williams. Yamal ran to the corner flag like a kid in the schoolyard. But the world was watching. And it was watching a star being born. Quarterfinals, Germany, the host nation. A hostile crowd. A brutal match. Spain were pushed to the edge. But Yamal? He didn't flinch. He held the ball when others panicked. He ran at defenders when others hesitated. Spain won. Yamal had 2 assists in 5 matches. But he was still missing something. A goal. Then came the semifinal. Against France. Mbappé, Griezmann, Theo. They were the favorites. In the 9th minute, France scored. The stadium exploded. Then, in the 21st minute, Yamal received the ball 25 meters from goal. One touch, a feint. He shifted left, and with no space, no angle, no warning, he launched a screaming, curling rocket into the top corner. The net trembled. The crowd gasped. The world stopped. Commentators lost their minds. Fans cried. Even legends like Cesc Fabregas whispered, "Did he really just do that?" He didn't celebrate wildly. He just walked to the camera, looked straight into the lens, and whispered, "Hablan ahora." Speak now. That was the moment. The one that cemented him as a legend. Not in the making, but already made. Spain won the match. And then, 5 days later, they faced England in the final. Another brutal match. Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. A tactical battle of titans. Yamal didn't score, but he carved open England's defense with ease. And then, once again, he assisted the match-winning goal. Final whistle. Spain were champions of Europe. Yamal became the youngest player in history to win and assist in a European final. And when he lifted that trophy, the world saw not a boy, but a king in the making. So now we must ask, what is Lamine Yamal? A dribbler? Yes. He's already completed more take-ons than anyone his age in history. A passer? Yes. His vision cuts through defensive lines like a surgeon's scalpel. A scorer? Absolutely. His left foot is a weapon. A leader? Unquestionably. But more than anything, he is a mirror. A mirror that reflects the future of football. Agile, fast, intelligent, fearless. Analysts say he blends the flair of Neymar, the intelligence of Iniesta, and the killer instinct of Messi. But comparisons fail. Because Lamine is not the next anyone. He is the first Lamine Yamal. At just 17, he has done what many can only dream of. Conquered Europe. Dominated for both club and country. Broken every record in his path. But success hasn't changed him. He still lives close to his mother. Still visits his old coaches. Still signs every shirt from the kids at Masia. And when asked about his goals, he says, "I just want to play. I just want to enjoy the game. The rest will come." That humility, that hunger, that focus is what makes him unstoppable. So now, the world watches, eyes wide, hearts pounding, waiting to see what this child of destiny will do next. Will he lead Barcelona back to European glory? Will he become Spain's all-time top scorer? Will he, one day, lift the Ballon d'Or? No one knows. But one thing is certain. Football, in all its long and beautiful history, has never seen a rise like this. From the child in Messi's arms, to the man who might surpass him. From the streets of Madrid, to the grandest stages in Europe. From humble beginnings, to eternal glory. This is not just a footballer. This is a phenomenon, a myth in the making. This is not the beginning of a career. It is the start of a legend. Remember the name. Say it loud. Say it often. Because for the next decade, and perhaps far beyond, this will be the name that defines a generation. Lamine Yamal, the boy, the prodigy, the king of tomorrow, today.